we will move ahead to Dr. L.R. Manjunatha. He's a B Civil, MBA Marketing, Postgraduate Diploma in Finance Management, Postgraduate Diploma in Management, MPhil, PhD, and chairman to Indian Concrete Institute. He is a concrete technologist and expert on green building material. Dr. Manjunatha is also a fellow member of ACCE1, life member of ICI, Instruct, ACCE1, ACI Indian chapter. So Sir will be talking to us on the topic, which is recent development in use of alternative materials for sustainable and durable construction in India. Sir, over to you, and we are eagerly waiting to hear from you.
Thank you, Mr. Nitesh. The opening remarks of Premji, we learned so many things. He was talking about concrete is the second most consumed material after water. So imagine so much of construction is happening. All over the world, about 4.3 billion tons of cement is being produced. So imagine the scope of concrete. We are consuming about 20 billion tons of aggregates. So in this context, we also know, I come from a company called JSW, I work for that company. I want to use only one slide of my company. We are one of the largest company in India in building material segment. We are into steel, energy, cement, infrastructure, and paints. This is about my company, where I come from. Today, I'm going to deal about what is the situation currently. The shortages being faced in the industry regarding raw materials, environmental concerns and sustainability. We have to construct the next 50 years. We are going to redevelop the whole world with the infrastructure development, housing, and if we keep on consuming the natural raw materials or the cement, which is not going to be sustainable. So there is a requirement of alternative materials, and where we can get alternative materials. So there are so many industries who are producing alternative materials like thermal power plants who produce fly ash. India itself produces about 150 million tons of fly ash. There is the steel industry which produces blast furnace slag and steel slag, where I come from, and about 35 million tons of blast furnace slag is generated in India, and nearly about 20 million tons of steel slag is generated. So these industry byproducts, not only from the steel industry and thermal power plant, we have byproduct from copper industry, copper smelting, then aluminium industry, red mud and all. So whether we can make use of these materials and make in a better quality concrete, because concrete, as Prem sir told, it is the second most consumed material on the planet. And so suitability, how Dr. Vasanta talked about internal curing, developing internal curing lightweight aggregates. I was very astonished to see the presentation from Professor Vasanta and developing new type of aggregates which helps in internal curing. So what are the byproduct applications and where and all we can apply these products, starting from concrete, then road works, then concrete roads, then site stabilizations and other applications. Cement products, and also I've got a couple of testimonials, and finally I conclude it. So I having more slides, so I would like to run a little bit faster. I hope I've already shared my presentation to you, and you can share to all the participants through various media. I've sent the PDF from my side. So as I told you, friends, by 2050, the planet is going to have 10 billion population. Out of that, 80% of the population is going to live in urban environment, the clusters, because the migration will happen from the rural environment to urban environment, search of job, better living condition, better health and all. So what we are doing, we're creating more and more concrete jungles. Today you talk about where I live from Bangalore, about 1,000 square kilometer, we are having a population of 1 crore. Mumbai, Delhi, Kolkata, Dhaka, Ceylon, various countries, I'm talking about SAARC. We are having a cluster of growing population, and we need to create infrastructure, we We need to build better metro lines, better road network, then tall buildings, and also we need to develop housing, mass housing for the urban poor. So this is going to have considerable impact on the global warming and also on the environment impact. Friend, as I told you, 1 ton of cement production requires about 1.5 tons of limestone. It requires coal because it have to heat the entire raw mix 2500 degrees centigrade to get clinker. Okay, so clinker is the main product for cement manufacturing. And this clinkerization with combination of cement production liberates about 0.65 to 0.8 metric ton. Initially, it was about 1 ton. 1 ton of cement production was liberating about 1 ton of carbon dioxide. But it's come down to 0.65 or 0.5 also if they're using blended cement. Hazards associated with Portland cement are many. Means environmental degradation, we are taking out the limestone from the earth crust, carbon emissions, water pollution, we require a lot of water, and also the release of heavy metals to the air. And globally, 5% of the CO2 emissions are coming from the cement industry. So with that, all we know, greenhouse effect, then urban heat island effect, the city environment, the temperatures are rising in the urban centers because of the greenhouse gas emissions. Then we know the developing countries or the fast developing countries like China and India contributing to the maximum percentage of carbon dioxide emissions. Developed economies like Europe or America, other economies, Australia, they are reducing their carbon footprint by various applications. Still, China, India, or maybe Gulf regions contribute maximum chunk of carbon dioxide emissions. So, as I told you, construction, we cannot stop construction, we keep on doing. As I told you, next 20-25 years sees 50% of the construction. What we have done is nothing. We need to go for urban infrastructure like metros. We're going for tunneling, urban underground cities or highways we are going to construct. So that will consume about 40% of the energy construction and is contributing 30% of the global greenhouse emissions and causing 10% of the dust. The urban environment is so much polluted, and the COVID lockdown of 2.5 months is a testimony where the air has become very much clear. People could see Himalayas from far off places. That means to say, so much of pollution was there. And we could see the now raining pattern become normal because the pollution levels have come down. So we know we require one cubic meter per person per annum. That is the average consumption of concrete globally. Imagine our population is 7.5 billion population. We are going to consume about 7.5 billion cubic meter of concrete. So as I told you, any development activities require a lot of cement, and equivalently it consumes natural resources, it liberates carbon dioxide, and additionally what is going to happen, we are going to create more and more CO2 emissions. We are going to use more fresh water and increase land use for mining. So this is the harmful effect of concrete. But friends, there are technologies, innovations which are happening, like how Professor Vasanta talked about internal curing, because internal curing helps in lesser consumption of water, because we require at least 150 liters per cubic concrete to make the concrete, and similar quantity of water we require for curing. So maybe 300-350 liters of water per cubic meter is required. So coming to the emission part, it's a small chart. I'm showing you the major contribution is power, the CO2 emissions. Steel and cement contributes about 7 and 5. That is about 12% of the CO2 emissions. So there's a need for alternative materials. Okay, there's a demand. So I'm going to talk about in next future, further about how alternative materials are helping to make the concrete durable, sustainable, and also long lasting, and also bringing down the CO2 emissions. So civil engineers, we are all civil engineers working in the civil engineering field. Our primary responsibility is make the construction sustainable, durable, long lasting. and reduce the life cycle cost of the buildings. So sustainable cycle, we all know. So you have to reduce the environment impact, then economic profit. When you want to make it sustainable, always you ask, okay, whether it is economical compared to the regular concretes. So Professor Vasanta was talking about internal curing. So when I can question him, okay, whether this internal curing concrete is economic profit, is that how much costlier than the regular grade of concrete? So when we talk about alternative materials, sustainable materials, people always ask, okay, I want to use this product, no problem, but I don't want to pay even a single paisa extra. That is the always when we approach builders, developers, and clients, or anybody for that matter, so they look at economic cost. So it should be give social benefit to the people. These are the various sustainable cycle parameters. So I have already discussed on this. So concrete, you know, age-old days we are making concrete using cement, aggregate, and water. Aggregate means fine and coarse aggregates. Chemical admixtures have come now. So chemical, along with that, mineral admixtures, they have come. There are many mineral admixtures. I'm going to talk about it. So these are going to change the concrete. Earlier we were talking about M20, M25, M30 grades of normal grades of concrete for construction, but now we're talking about high performance concrete, self-compacting concrete, talking about geopolymer concrete, they're talking reactive powder concrete, we're talking about concrete with colored concrete. So concrete is taking so many shapes, dimensions, and specifications. So bendable concrete we are talking about. Then we are using concrete for 3D printing. So this concrete is no longer a brick and mortar material. Now it is a versatile material. So how to make this concrete using sustainable materials is the challenge. So sustainable concretes, when we want to make, so we are looking at optimization. Okay, you have to optimize the material, and we have to use recycled aggregates or recycled material, and innovation in materials and process to keep on improving how we can innovate, bringing new materials with technology and advancements. So what we want from concrete, we all know concrete. Okay, it's a man-made material, and we want so many things from concrete. We demand, we want compressive strength. We want it first workable. Okay, somebody says, okay, I want a slump of, somebody is making road. Say I want a 40 mm slump. Somebody using this concrete for pumping purpose, ready-mix concrete. Say I want 120 to 150 mm slump. Somebody is using concrete for self-compacting. It doesn't want any compaction. The stump requires 550 mm to 750 mm. So various applications demand various rheological. I want to pump the concrete 1 kilometer. Now people are constructing 1 kilometer tall structures. This is Kingdom Towers in Saudi Arabia. The concrete has to be pumped for 1 kilometer. Imagine, friends, pumping. So even we may not be able to pump the water also, but you have to pump the concrete to 1 kilometer. So people have designed the concrete which can be pumped. So people have designed concrete, it doesn't have cement at all. They designed self-compacting geopolymer concrete in the Middle East. Recently, I got a paper from that. So they have not used cement at all. They have used chemical admixtures, they used fly ash, they used blast furnace slag, GGBS, and they made a concrete which behaves like a self-compacting concrete with all the properties like a normal concrete. So when we make concrete, it should have compressive strength. That is our primary focus. If you are using for other application, we need flexural strength or tensile strength. Durability is primary important. When we make concrete, it should be able to withstand all the environmental defects. Okay, environment like carbonation, the chloride, water impermeability, sulfate resistance. These are the various parameters we are looking from a concrete. Now, dimension stability. So dimension and efficient packing of granular. So that should have a cohesive mix, well compacted material. That's what we are looking at. Coming to durability parameters, as I already told you, material process. Then we're looking at physical and chemical properties. Okay. So these are the various durability requirements we see from the concrete. So as I already told you, so we have got so many ingredients in concrete. We are having cement, we have aggregates, fine aggregates, water, and each and every product in the concrete, every raw material can be changed to a certain percentage. Okay. I'm talking about cement. Cement, you can replace cement by using alternative materials like fly ash, GGBS, metakaolin, microsilica, ultrafine fly ash, ultrafine GGBS. So aggregates. For aggregates, we can replace by C&D waste, this construction demolition aggregates. From process industries material, like spoke about the curing aggregate. That is not full. Reverse being used extensively. Now, almost all the governments, whether it is in India or Nepal or Bangladesh or Sri Lanka, they have banned the use of natural river sand because it was taking a big toll on the environment. Now they are going with manufactured sand. They're going with slag sand or recycled materials sand. So they're changing on pond ash. They're changing. So fine aggregate also water. Water being replaced by now internal curing aggregates. Taking example of Professor Vasanta, and they're using the very eminent important admixtures. We have got admixtures, PC-based admixtures, water reducing admixtures. They can reduce the water demand in concrete making up to 30 to 40%. Okay. Then curing. So coming to the curing component, people are evolved many chemical admixtures where you don't require curing water, using water curing. We can spray the water curing compounds or internal curing chemicals we can use. Chemicals also available where make use of these chemicals and you don't require to put water. So with all these ingredients, you can question me, Manjunath, whether we can get strength and durability. Yes. So I'm going to show all the mixed designs and where we are going to get the improved durability using these admixtures in the concrete. So Indian code permits usage of these materials, whether it's slag or fly ash. The mixed design itself they have given, so you can replace based on the percentage. Fly ash you can go up to 35%. GGBS if you are using it can go up to 25 to 70%. Okay, that is the minimum requirement. So if you are going for a mass concrete applications where you have a raft of 1.5 meters, 5 meters and all, people have used it in India up to 60% GGBS, replacing the OPC cement. So these are the various mineral admixtures. As I told you, these are all very important. These are all the product from the process industry, not a virgin material. Fly ash, GGBS, metakaolin, all these products can replace the ordinary Portland cement to an extent. Okay, starting from 25 to 70%. So you can put me a question. Okay, whether using these materials is going to be beneficial to the concrete. Yes, 100%. After not only reducing the cost of construction, strength parameters like later age strength, hydration, and reduced pore volume, then water tightness, sulfate resistance, chloride resistance, alkali silica reaction. So these are the various percentage we can improve the properties of concrete by using these mineral admixtures. So I'm coming to my core subject today. This is the steel industry. India is having about 110 million tons capacity of steel producing. That we are going to get about 35 million tons of blast furnace slag, another 20 million tons of steel slag. So using these byproducts earlier, they were not using those products at all. It was being dumped. It was creating a land, landfill issues. And using this product very effectively generated structures with significance, making it sustainable, durable. So I'm coming to the ground granulated blast furnace, which is a cement replacement. This product of steel industry from the hot metal. So it is coming from blast furnace. We know very well molten slag, and we generate this. It is better than fly ash because it is having both calcium oxide and silicon dioxide. So GGBS slag percentage 40% calcium oxide is there. When cement is having 62%, we are having 40% silicon dioxide. So it's just like a cement only. Okay. If you add water, it has to mix it with concrete. Then it reacts with cement. The process is making it strength, durable, and sustainable using GGBS. So there is a chart which shows that how the embodied carbon dioxide emissions can come down using the various percentage of fly ash and GGBS. OPC is 370 kg per cubic meter. If you use GGBS up to 70%, 139 kg. So this is the CO2 emission reduction using the secondary cementitious material like slag and fly ash. Replacement percentage can vary based on the applications. For our regular concrete application, we can use 25 to 35%. Underground structures up to 50%. Mass concreting 50 to 65%. Marine structures where severe environmental conditions are there, freeze-thaw reactions, corrosion resistance, we can go up to 70%. Globally, this product is being used up to 70%. So coming to the reaction process, how Manjunath, you can ask me how it will react. So when we add water to the cement, it reacts. It's an exothermic reaction. So everybody agrees for that. So when it reacts, it liberates a DNA called calcium silicate hydrate gel, and also one more product called calcium hydroxide. So this calcium hydroxide about 26%. It is a very unstable product. So what will happen? Generally, if you are using OPC concrete, the 26% remain as it is, and it will absorb moisture, chloride, sulfates from the moisture or the environment, and also it absorbs moisture. So with that, what will happen? Whatever the pores are there in the concrete and all, so it leads to carbonation, it leads to sulfate attack, also alkali silica reactions. All these things are going to happen. And chloride attack, then rusting of the reinforcement inside. These are the things. So GGBS or the slag, it reacts with this calcium hydroxide, create an additional calcium silicate hydrate gel because it's having calcium 40%. That calcium of 40% of GGBS reacts with calcium hydroxide, creating additional calcium silicate hydrate gels. So it's both hydraulic and also pozzolanic in nature. This is the reaction. So this double reaction will take place along with the cement and water. So when it having reactions and additional products are liberated, the hydration products, so you are going to have better long-term strength, increased durability, lesser cracking, because you are removing the C3S or content or C2S content in the initial from the cement. So the lesser cracking will happen, and also resistance to acid and chloride attack. So coming to we have done a study using GGBS, how many millions of trees we can save. So this product is being utilized in India to an extent. Every year the growth of this product is phenomenal. So I can share with you, in the last 5 years, we have produced the concrete with GGBS about 62.85 million cubic meter we have done. Then replaced OPC cement by 5.97 million tons. So carbon dioxide reduction, you can see. So saved 10.37 metric ton of mass landfill. So this is the advantage we have done. So this product is having green certification. We know having green certification, this product. Then I just done a calculation by using 40% GGBS replacing cement. The carbon dioxide reduction is 105 kgs per cubic meter. So imagine each and every cubic meter we make, we are able to reduce the carbon footprint by almost 105 kgs. So I have done, starting from small projects, a project is having 1000 cubic meter, can save 1050 trees. 25,000 cubic meter a project is doing, we can save 2600 trees. The project, massive housing project, 2 lakh cubic meter, you can save over 21,000 trees. Imagine so much of saving can be done. So a couple of case studies I want to show. We have studied the long-term strength using almost 40% cement, 60% GGBS we have done for M20 grade of concrete. We have done a study up to 90 days, casting more than 500 cubes. So we can see the gradual improvement in the compressive strength. It gives the lesser 7 days strength, but 28 days is much better because we measure the concrete strength by 28 days. You got 56 days, 90 days, the strength is much better compared to your OPC control mix. Similar way, you have done for M25 grade concrete. You can see how the results are going. 7 days almost it is equivalent. Here the replacement is OPC is 45%, GGBS 55%. We are using a component more than cement here. So you have studied the long-term strength up to 90 days. We can clearly see the graph showing better strength parameters compared to the your regular concrete mix with cement. M30. Generally, these are the grades we use in most of the cases. Higher grades of concrete, we have better, more strength. So, and also we have done a study on the water permeability. This is the study which is showing water permeability parameters. Everywhere, the replacement of OPC cement with GGBS giving a better performance. So Lodha, one of the tallest skyscraper built in India, they have used this product, higher replacement. GGBS, they have used 350 kg, cement 150 kg, M40 grade raft. Especially this higher replacement of GGBS was done to bring down the temperature because the raft was much, this thing, about 5 meters raft. 70% GGBS they have used to reduce the thermal cracking. You can see the pictures, how it is done. And Mumbai Trans Harbour Link, they are also using slag up to 55% to give the durability to the concrete. Here the parameter is not the compressive strength. There its only parameter is the durability of the concrete. So these are the various examples. They are using slag in the concrete. L&T is the one which is using there 55%. So design mix also I am showing how they are using. You can tailor make the mixes because we store OPC cement in one silo, GGBS one silo. We can tailor make based on your requirement and applications. Mass concreting various percentage, and for various grades of concrete we can tailor make the mix design based on the requirement. So major specifications, these products are being used in major projects. These are the various major specifications. These products are being used. You name it, the products are being used extensively in India. And many government departments and courts, Indian courts have approved this product to be used for the concrete applications. So saving, I have just done a small analysis, how much you can save, starting from M10 grade to M30 grade concrete. 50% replacement, the cost saving I have given in one table, and 25% replacement savings. Almost an average of 200 rupees saving is there for a grade of concrete by using this product. We're taking the cement per bag as almost 350 rupees per bag. So it comes at 50% of the cost of cement. So durability parameters have already discussed in length. Pore modification will happen. Proper particle packing will happen. You get a better densely packed concrete, resistance to chloride, sulfates, alkali silica reactions, and better long-term strength and durability. So next, coming to the one more product called sand. So we have already discussed the natural sands are available. We are using alternative sand. JSW, my company where I work, they established first of its kind fine aggregate manufacturing plant in the country. We are having mountains of raw slag deposited over years. This will be a new product called manufactured sand. So this is the schematic diagram, slag generation, how it will happen, iron making and steel making. So iron making liberates about 350 kg of blast furnace slag, steel making 250 kg. We get, this is the raw material, this is the byproduct we get from the steel industry. So this can be used into various, we can make blast furnace slag into cement, GGBS, we can convert into fine aggregates, and the steel aggregates, steel slag we can use for the coarse aggregates. So here could LD slag aggregates we have developed in our factory. So coming to the slag as an aggregate, there is issue. If you want to use it a fine aggregate, we have to change the product. Just to taking the raw slag from the steel industry, we cannot use it. We have to modify it. So that modification process we have done by putting a specially designed crushers. So how it has happened, because we are shaping, because this having glass content, the blast furnace slag, we are reshaping the aggregates into a round shape, just look like sand, river sand, to meet the specification of IS 383. This has been done. So we have got the compared river sand and GBFF, that is the granulated blast furnace slag. So creating the specification as per IS 383. So changing the specification by grinding. So we have processed aggregates. The processed granulated blast furnace slag is having a round shape and property similar to river sand. We can see the graph, the particle size distribution matching with the zone 2 specifications. Zone 2 specification is the one which is used in India as per the IS 383 for using in various applications. We can have a comparative to study the river sand and slag sand. So this is the product modification we have done, and we have found through study we can replace up to 100%. Okay, even though the codes have given up to 25% usage in blending with M sand or river sand or plain concrete application, we can go up to 100%. But we have done on our own, we can go up to 100%. This thing still the code has to increase the percentage, but they have given up to 50% usage in blending with the other form of fine aggregate. This is the study we have done at Indian Institute of Science with various replacement levels. It shows that the strengths are much better using the processed blast furnace. Why? Because river sand always having silt, inorganic material, having pebbles. It comes from a natural source. It flows through. But this is a manufactured product where we don't have any impurities. It's a pure material. So this is the advantage of this product. That's why the strengths are always better using the processed GBS. Flowability study, durability study, everything. When we want to launch any new product, we have to do all the studies. Then only the industry will accept it. So coming to steel aggregates, coarse aggregates. So air-cooled LD slag and coarse aggregates has been developed in the JSW factory. So these have been used in various applications. Road works, I'm going to show various road works and all because time is very short. I'll finish it quickly. Physical properties have been compared with the natural aggregates and also the pH affinity to bitumen, and where and all we can make use of this product. Highways, airport, flyover, buildings, all the applications we can make use of this product. So before launching the product to the industry, we have done our own studies in our factory where more than 10 square kilometer factory is there. The government India is one of the big contract for doing national highway. They have used this product for the doing national highway as a case study. It has been published globally, and also National Highway Authority of India has approved this usage of the products. Road construction, because this seminar is mainly on roads, so we are showing various examples where they have used the products for road construction. Bellary, National Highway is Government India. So Government India is constructing this PQC roads, and the entire road is done with the slag aggregates, starting from the GSB, DLC, and PQC. They used the slags, steel slag and blast furnace slags from the steel industry, situated next to the National Highway. So already there's a modification which has come in the IS 383, the recent edition. Earlier it was natural source. They have now mentioned manufactured aggregates, though they're giving importance to manufactured product because they want to preserve the natural resources. So many approvals are there in the Indian context. Future applications, the products can be used because since already they're used in buildings, they can be used for other applications also, like breakwater, artificial rock manufacturing, railway ballast. They can make use of these products. So finally, at the end of the day, we are looking at using the artificial aggregates, man-made aggregates to reduce the carbon footprint. So at the end of the day, my presentation, it has reached all the people. I look for engineers to use these innovative alternative materials in various industry, whatever may be the applications, and achieve sustainability, durability, performance. At the end of the day, you have to reduce the cost also. So all these things can be done using these aggregates, which are very eco-friendly and green materials. And we have got testimony from the various stalwarts of the industry, Government India, then Shapoorji Pallonji, BL Kashyap, many stalwarts, metros, they use these products everywhere. all over the world, all over India, these products are being used. Finally, I would like to conclude, to save the planet, to reduce the load on the environment, we have to use the industrial byproducts like fly ash, slag, or copper slag byproducts. All these products should be used economically and induced in the mixed designs and all. So both durability and sustainability in concrete construction can be achieved using alternative methods in construction. So with that, I would like to thank the organizers and giving me a chance to present myself in this big forum. And I wish all the best for the construction industry professionals in this COVID days. We are going through a very tough time. Migrant worker crisis. Then cash flow is not there. Projects are not taking off. So we have to overcome all this. Difficult times gives a challenge to all the people. We have to overcome and take this industry and India and all the Asian countries together to a new great heights. Thank you, one and all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Manjunath ji. It was really a very knowledgeable presentation by you, sir. And it shows, the whole presentation shows that how we can create opportunities out of waste and also converting waste into wealth. So this is like my personal experience in this industry. Like we are also manufacturing block machines and giving this solution. 90% of people, when we see or say concrete, they understand cement, water, and say aggregate or sand. But yes, you have explained that concrete is not just about cement, water, and sand or aggregates. It is much beyond that. And, you know, we have to adopt the technologies by the fast moving world and cope up with time and develop green alternatives as well. Slag, obviously, yes, we have supplied few machines to the steel industry, and they are using slag in a very, very positive manner. And around 65% of the blocks are made by slag, and those blocks are used in the core construction, like constructing a wall, house, everything is being done by that. It was a wonderful presentation, sir. I would request you to share the same to me also. I'll give you my mail ID.
Yeah. I've already shared it to the organizers, my PPT, and it's available. You can load it to a global audience. I have no problem.
Yes. I also got a thought of making a team and go to meet you and understand how to, you know, actually imply those things into our industry as well. So, sir, where do you stay?